October the 9th, 2025, an historic day for silver's price as it has rocketed up way above $50 an ounce. We're going to discuss what happened on that rise up and then what occurred after. Let's discuss it as we explore. A wild day indeed in the precious metal markets. For sure, we saw silver's price shoot up well above $50 an ounce, blasting through that resistance to top out at $51.27. An amazing ride for silver's price today, breaking all the nominal records for the price of silver. But there's more to discuss with regards to that. I'm going to get into that in a moment, but I want to thank Summit Metals, one of the fastest growing bullion dealers out there, who provide great customer service and fast shipping. So next time you are in the market to buy or sell your precious metals, check out Summit Metals. Link is in the description below. Now, what's going on here with silver's price today is nothing short of remarkable. I didn't think we would see it just blast right through and shoot up to $51.27, but that's exactly what happened today. As we look at the markets, in fact, right now, moments before the markets close, well, the metals are taking yet another turn, and I'm going to report on those prices later in the video, so stay tuned. Now, also later in the video, I'm going to show you what new silver I got just today. I'm also going to show you this little tiny silver piece here, too, that I got some time ago that I forgot about. So stay tuned for that later in the video. Both purchases were at my local coin shop. So I'm going to be referencing a piece here from FX Leaders that gives us some insight as to what's happening. I'm putting my own 2 cents as to why I think silver prices fell back below $50 an ounce here later. So as the demand for gold slows and the value of the US dollar drops, investors are now turning to silver and platinum, which is causing the precious metals market to rebound strongly. That's what they feel here. Silver and platinum have emerged as standout performers in recent weeks, gaining momentum as gold shows signs of exhaustion. In fact, gold did fall back today. It fell now after going over $4,000 an ounce. In fact, it topped out today at $4,058. It is now back down to $3,978.10. A $64 drop right now. That's a 1.58% drop in gold's price. And platinum has also fallen back as well, too. Understandable, though, because it had really been shooting up. It is still above $1,600 an ounce, though. A combination of a softer U.S. dollar, lingering inflation fears, and geopolitical risk has driven global investors to diversify their safe haven exposure. And now we're seeing them trade at multi-year highs, and silver is taking the lead. Indeed it is. Silver's 2025 rally has been nothing short of extraordinary. The metal has surged nearly 75% year to date, beginning this year below $29. Amazing. And now trading above $51, the highest level ever recorded, at least at the writing of this article. Of course, we know what happened after that. It fell. The breakthrough above the 2011 peak of $49.75 confirms a long-term bullish breakout, fueled by both speculative interest and structural demand, despite the return below $50 again. And the technically, silver's momentum still remains strong. But what I'm going to tell you about here later, that they're not talking about here, is quite remarkable for what happened with silver's price today. So stay tuned for that. The technical outlook looks good. The 20-day simple moving average provided firm support during September's brief pullback, setting the stage for this week's powerful rally past $50. With sentiment accelerating, analysts now see room for further upside towards $60 in the near term, with potentially $100 in 2026 if the bullish cycle persists. That's a big if. I'm not quite as hopeful there, but it is possible. I did talk about that in this morning's video about life after $50 silver. And I think that, all bets are on the table as to what could happen with regards to that, especially since we saw it blast through that resistance of $50. It could happen again, as it has happened so quickly here today. And the gold to silver ratio we've seen has narrowed because of a lot of this happening now. It is just barely above 80 right now. I think that number should be in the low 70s and high 60s given this bull run. But you know what? Gold is holding its own. Silver's benefiting from it right now, but they're trading in exact opposite directions right now. And so that's what's happening. Now, we do know that silver has a dual demand, and we're seeing that dual demand really play out now with demand for physical bullion starting to reach out again. My local coin shop says they're seeing more people starting to buy more so now than they had in the past. In other words, there's equal parts buying, equal parts selling at the local coin shop. That's a good sign that at least we're starting to see some activity on the buying front. Silver enjoys robust industrial utility alongside its role as a monetary asset. Around half of all silver demand now comes from technology and green energy sectors. In fact, more than half. And central banks and institutional investors are also boosting allocations to silver. Maybe not necessarily buying it and storing it in vaults, but they are looking at it as undervalued inflation hedge relative to gold. Chinese demand continues to expand with strong jewelry and bar purchases added further momentum. And so this is really what we're seeing here. This bull run for silver could just be getting started. And we're going to see hiccups along the way. And one of those hiccups happened today when the price of silver dramatically fell to a difference of $2.85 spread in the movement of the price today. That is amazing. Up and then down right now as the markets get close to closing here. Gold is down $64.30, down 1.59% to $3,977.80. Silver is up 40 cents now, recovering some of the losses that it had. It only fell a few cents, though, earlier in the day, but it is now up 0.83%, up 40 cents to $49.34. But, I can safely say that now with my last revised prediction video for silver, we got to $51. So I was right about that. And now will we stay that? Will we see it again? I think it's quite possible. As volatile as the market has been, I think we could see $51 again between now and the end of the year, and maybe even more. I am overall bullish on silver, but remember, this bull run, this rally will come to an end, and we'll start to see the normalization of the price of silver. What will that look like? What will that number be? It's anybody's guess. I may discuss it in a future video, but I think we're going to see higher floors than what we had seen in the past rallies above, right around this time, number. Because remember, silver has never reached $50 before until now. This is the first time in history. Now, I've looked and researched, and there's some sites that say it did get above $50, but I think that was the futures price at the time. But the actual spot price never reached there until today. And boy, what a day it was. Exciting day for silver stackers. We should definitely celebrate. However, remember, all good things and what goes up must come down at a certain point in time. Now, that is off the table if we can see sustained levels above $50 or even above $49. So if we can hold on above $49, even if it doesn't go to $50, and we hold on to it, I think that's going to set ourselves up for a move past $50 down the road. Consolidation at this point would be a massive victory overall for silver stackers. Massive. So we should celebrate this. An amazing day for stacking silver. But in the end, even above $50 an ounce, and I've said it time and time again, there's more to silver than just its price. It is a value proposition outside of the current system from which we find ourselves apart. That system is centered around the dollar. We are still centered around the dollar. But we hedge ourselves by having silver on hand as a form of wealth outside of the dollar, which is losing value by design. That's called inflation. Even at 2%, they don't like to call that inflation, but technically it is. It's a loss of value. Silver will preserve your wealth over the long course of time. And of course, right now, in 2025, it's acting like a really good investment. But in reality, it should not be seen as an investment, even as the prices skyrocketed here to above $50 an ounce. And again, remember, the volatility of the markets shall remain in place. Tomorrow is a new day. If the price of silver falls another dollar or two, and let's say we get back to $47 tomorrow, I will not lose heart. You should not lose heart either, because we know there's a lot going on in the markets. In fact, today, with the price of silver up, the dollar strength is up. The dollar has gone up dramatically today. And that is something that is not taken lightly either. The strength of the dollar has risen dramatically today. And that is quite something to see here, as the dollar is now above 99.41, a 0.56% increase, almost up to 100. Even that, silver is still up. That is a huge victory. I think in some ways that's an even bigger deal than what we saw happen earlier in the day, because it's rounding out the session here up, and it's up notably here. So that is a victory. Now, something else that is not being talked about as to one of the reasons why silver price fell is likely because of the announcement of the beginning of peace in the Middle East, specifically with regards to the Gaza war. The first phase has been agreed to by Hamas and signed, and hostages will be released, all of them, both dead and alive, on Monday. And I think that is part of what is happening here. We see a stabilization of a close of a war, potentially. It's not a sure thing yet, but most are very optimistic on both sides that this is happening. And so that is a pretty big deal, and that could be one of the reasons why the precious metals have gone down. Notwithstanding, the stock market is also down overall. So it's a little bit of a head scratcher there, but nonetheless, there it is. Okay, now, what did I get? This is a cool little piece I got at my local coin shop. It's 1/10 of an ounce of silver. I got for right around spot price, and it's kind of a cool little thick bar here, kind of a cool little piece. I don't know much about it, but perhaps some of you vintage or some of you who are collect bars may know what this is. HMC, it looks like, is there. And then I also replenished a portion of my stack that I had liquidated, given away in the last couple of days with more. That's right. This is a nice, relatively high-grade stuff that I got at spot price at my local coin shop. They gave me a great deal on it. I wanted some better mercs to replace the ones that I had given away. And that'll be a subject of another video. But there it is. Pretty amazing. That's $1.40. That's an ounce of silver right there in fractional constitutional silver. And so there it is. So adding this to the stack here, 2 Walking Liberty half dollars, Winged Liberty dimes. Gotta love it. Put that right there. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.